Greetings to you wherever you are. This morning we want to discuss a very important topic, a topic of light and how it was made possible to have so many people in the entire world believing that a SON could actually be the light of the world instead of the SUN. That is what we really want to discuss today. Okay? I would definitely like someone to make sense of it for me. Thus, the reason why this channel is called Make It Make Sense. Because there's so many things in this world that just doesn't make any sense at all. Yet people continue to believe in these things and allow these kind of beliefs to shape their lives. And when they do so, they're actually robbing themselves of the true light that is within themselves. Okay. You see, there's a difference between the SUN and the SON. And right where I'm living, not too far from where I'm living, there is a church there. I think it's called the Apostolic Faith Church. And on that church is the sign of a cross. And it has written above the cross, Jesus is the light of the world. And I've been asking the members of that church to explain to me how Jesus could be the light of the world instead of the sun, as in the SUN, being the light of the world. And they will get angry. And they believe that I am of the devil, not having the right understanding of their lower self, not having the right understanding that all is mine, and that the Bible is actually a book of mind science, and that the mind, that it also parallels the sun. For example, without the sun, there's no life and there's no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. That is why our people are in poverty, which is a lack of imagination, because they're giving their power away to a SON and not realizing the importance of the SUN. They're not understanding the importance of the light that is within. They're not understanding the importance of discovering that spark that would ignite your entire being. That's why you're told that if your eye be single, that single eye represent the sun that is within you. And that is why they switch the SUN and give you a SON to have you living a life whereby you are mentally retarded. You see, black people have the most dominant gene on this planet. They're the closest thing to carbon. They're the closest thing to the sun. They're the closest thing to nature. Okay, they are superior when it comes to athletics, when it comes to sports, when it comes to entertainment. They're superior in so many different ways. But when it comes to mental fortitude and mental power, I have to be honest with you. I might hurt some people feeling by telling you the truth, but many of them, I'm talking about like 99.9999999% of the people are actually mentally retarded. And someone have to tell them the truth. And most of them live in the monkey mind. And that is why they could refer to them as apes and gorillas. They're not speaking about the animal. No. They are talking about their IQ level. So my brother, my sisters, you definitely have to be mentally retarded to live in this world and not realize that the light of the world is the sun, the sun. Okay, so I'm doing this live to help those who are willing to unlearn and relearn and reprogram their subconscious mind. I am doing this live to let you know why all these so-called mystics and philosophers who comes from a bloodline that likes to rule and kill and destroy and steal. And this truth is what going to expose them. You see, many people all around the world believe in what Neville Goddard has been teaching, and they think it is something new. And they fail to realize that it all goes back to the sun in man, the sun. Yet, to keep their agenda of a child wrapped in swaddling cloth, he had to say that he experienced that when he experienced his awakening, which is actually a damn lie, which is actually something that has been scripted through his brotherhood. Okay? Because in the spirit world, when you experience yourself as pure consciousness, there is no baby wrapped in swaddling cloth. Okay? The baby is connecting to what looks like the Philippian tube, I think. That card that is connected to your mother from your neighbor's string. That's how you experience yourself in the astral world when you really have the true awakening experience. You can never have no true awakening or illuminated experience without the spark in you, and that spark represents the sun in you. Okay, the light that is in you, and there's no way it could tie back to a SON with blonde hair and blue eye or some Jewish guy or something like that. No, it have to tie back to the closest ones to the sun, the closest ones to nature. And you may ask yourself, why is this man doing these kind of videos and why you always talk about Neville and so on? It is because I want people to be aware of the ruling classes in the Caribbean and around the world and the programs that have been run by the archons and the influence of the archons. You see, you have to understand the children of the archons, who they are, and how they're getting their economic and financial power. It all comes from light, but it is stolen light because they're stealing your energy. And the archons are harvesting that stolen energy through your doubt, your fear, your guilt, your shame, your judgment, and your condemnation. That's the reason why. If you check the founders of all the religious bodies that melanated people affiliate themselves to, you would see it goes all the way back to some Caucasian man or woman who set up such a religious denomination as a place of feasting for the archons. Well, you may say, boy, he just talking. He just a yapper, you know. Just some time back, I had a deep yawning. I don't know how to explain it to you, okay? But anytime I get that kind of deep yawning and that deep desire, within a matter of a certain time, they will always come a breakthrough. And so I don't look for any breakthrough. I don't look for any answer. It normally comes to me. Okay? And I wanted was to figure out a certain thing on this entire planet about certain people on this planet. and why they are in the place that they are and why they have been controlling for so long. But even though I would have already realized through the formative years of the children life, through the school system in the Caribbean, how they're running a certain program, okay, what actually revealed to me concerning the archons, what they call the archons, sometimes I call them the energy vampires, these non-physical beings that most people do not see and they can't see because they're vibrating at such a low frequency. Okay. But I was fortunate enough to see, okay, and to see these non-physical entities that are feeding off of the energy of people. Okay. And when the answer came to me, it bring a certain peace to me. It bring a certain, understanding to me. And I could see it clearly. But people cannot see this clearly, spiritually and psychologically. They'll call you crazy. Okay. And they think that we are the only entities having this experience on this planet. No. There are other entities that are here right now. Right? Presently, right now, as I'm speaking to you, there's a church not too far from where I'm here, way back down there. Okay. I think it's a Baptist church though. Okay. I think it's a fundamental Baptist. Okay. And I remember quite vividly many years ago when the real true owners who own that church came down from Cleveland, Tennessee. Okay. Because in America is where the headquarters are. When these white people come under the disguise of trying to check the people health and want to say they're doing blood pressure tests and so on and all of these things, right? And I went right in that churchyard and challenged them. And this is what I said to them. I said, you all come to visit the monkeys that you all have gathered in these pens you all call churches and so on. They didn't want to have nothing to do with me and so on. And I remember quite vividly they gathered at a certain supermarket called Massey Supermarket, where next to the Russell Shopping Center. And by Russell Shopping Center, Russell was a man who grew up in this country, very rich, and had, I think he had married to a Caucasian woman and so on. And he was the first man that owned a theater in this country. And right in that same area, he set up something called a Hall of Fame, where he's mentioning a lot of different people in the country who would have contributed and so on to the country. So you have prime ministers and different people there and so on. People who the younger folks wouldn't even know that those people ever exist in the country and what they did. And above it, he had written "In God With Us." And I used to go there and I could channel all of these different energies and see what they cloth they cut from and what they knew and what would have hidden from the masses. And so I did a video and a channel within my own country here concerning what it really means when they say "In God With Us" and who they really are and so on. And they remove it, the "In God With Us" from the Russell Shopping Center, they remove it. Okay. But the point I really want to bring across to you is that there have always been a class of people who is against you discovering the sun within you, the light that is within you. And I'm going to show you it in a very simple way. So simple that even a child can understand what I'm saying. You see, when you look at nature and you look at the trees, they bring forth by a science of light called photosynthesis. And when you get rain, it is because of evaporation and condensation and so on, and it's because of the sun. Okay, so all abundance comes from light. All science, all prosperity, it comes from light. And there's only light and darkness in this world. And they're the polar opposite of each other. So there's the lie and there is the truth. So to keep you in the darkness, they have to give you Jesus, the S-O-N. Now, let's think. Could a man be born in this world from a woman without the presence of sun, as in the S-U-N, or without the presence of light? It is not possible. It can never be proved scientifically. And there's nothing that is new under the sun, because the sun was before everything else. Because out of the darkness comes the light. Out of nothing comes everything. So everything in this world, it had to first be a thought, it had to first be an idea, it had to first be imagined. So it means you're void of understanding how the mind works when you really believe in Jesus. And so, as I was mentioning, concerning this fundamental Baptist church and these Caucasian people coming down, being sheep, wolf in sheep clothing, under the disguise of this Jesus agenda, and already known that if you train up a child in a certain way, when they become older, it's hard for them to depart from it. And they already saw the school system to impact your subconscious mind. They came down and they was there by Russell Shopping Center, say they checking people pressure and so on. And one of them didn't encounter me at the church. And so they tried to approach me. And by the time they tried to approach me, the others were trying to stop her. And like tell her, no, don't mess with him, he's crazy. And I start on them, okay, to really expose them. And so, my brother and my sisters, it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have in this world and how much books you read. Those who've been enslaving you and keeping in a perpetual state of mental slavery, what they care about is whether you have the experience or not. You see, when you have the experience of the sun that is within you, which is that light, that spark, they'll do anything and everything to make sure that your message doesn't get to the masses. Because why should they allow such a message coming from one who is a witness, one who's a self-actualized, self-realized one who would have awakened out of the dream? Why would they want to make his message universal when they have puppets that they could use and they could allow them to have as much views and make as much money from the system because they're willing to sell their integrity and give themselves cheaply, put in more value and money than on themselves? And that is why it gives me joy to be speaking to the very few who would know that the real light of the world is the S-U-N. And so people watch up in false knowing, they're going to say, I know that, I know Jesus represents the sun. No, you're getting tricked. You do not know. It is only when you experience the sun within you that you would know that truly Jesus being the light of the world doesn't make any sense. And nobody could make sense of it. And so they present to you an idol. And that idol has been planted in your mind. And it's very hard to get that idol out of your mind because of the archonic program that has been running this planet. All the things that people would have spoken about with Diddy, TD Drakes, the Epstein files, all these things. All these things are part of the archonic program. They've been using all of these atrocities to harvest the energy of the masses. And so what we call distraction and what they use for distraction is, I would call it extraction. It's an extraction process that is taking place. So just like you would extract the minerals from the earth and so on and use it in a way that it will become valuable, it's the same thing they're doing to you. And so when you see certain set of people coming up with certain ideas, like they come up with the idea of AI, artificial intelligence, to keep you from really thinking. After for many years, they've been using all different kind of program to keep you from really thinking, and now you're trying to use AI to stop you from thinking. They're trying to black out the sun to keep you from really thinking. All these different things they have tried. So you know, people who are true thinkers and true witnesses of the intelligence that gives us everything that we desire in this world. Once they know that you're in tune with that intelligence and you're not willing to be a part of their program or their brotherhood or their cabal, they do anything and everything to try to keep you stagnated, to try to keep you a certain way. And these people who are running the world, they're so poor. They're so poor. Let me repeat it again. They're so poor. All they have is money. And money has no intrinsic value of its own. You're the one who have to give value to it. That's why they make sure program us in such a way to go after money that we forget to go after wisdom. We forget to seek to know who we are first. And so they trap you in the dream. They trap you and keep you asleep. They keep you in the dark. And I'm saying the Jesus program, where they deceive the entire world and tell them that Jesus is the light of the world, and billions of people believe that. They believe that in so much that women would use terminology such as they're seeking for a God-fearing man to be a part of their lives. And these women are so delusional that they're putting fear next to God. In other words, you are a spirit and you're having a human experience, and you're for spirit, and spirit is your essence, and spirit have no fear. Have no fear, no guilt, no shame, no judgment, no condemnation towards itself. And that spirit is pure consciousness, and that consciousness is light. And so the sun is what reflects everything that I am speaking about. Everyone on this planet have to eat food. And there can be no food without the sun, which means that the sun has something inside of it that is more vital than the food that we put in our mouths to eat. Which means that the sun could give us wireless electricity without even those solar panels that they're using. It means that the sun can enable us to have airplanes and so on flying without using the kind of fluid that they're using. It means that we can have motor vehicles on this planet without using the fuel that they're using, but that would destroy all of the so-called superpowers in the world that depends on oil. All of these so-called Arab countries and so on, they wouldn't have the kind of capacity and power that they have on this planet. But if you use your common sense and you understand the power of the light, the power of the sun, you're able to put two and two together. And you see that everything in this world can come from solar, because everything is solar power. Even your heart that goes tick, 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 tick like a clock, it takes the solar plexus to activate. It is the solar plexus that is activating that part of us that must bring us to a place of illumination. And that is why they are against the sun. And they want to block out the sun. After people start to discover that they give them a SON for the SUN. So inshallah, my brother and my sisters, you're living a defeated life when you believe that Jesus Christ, a man who existed 2,000 years ago, is the light of the world. The sun, the SUN, is actually the light of the world. The sun is everything. Just as they will tell you all is mind, I tell you all is light. You can't have mind without light. You can't have light without mind. It goes together. Okay, that is why this whole existence on this planet is based on being awake and asleep. Okay, every night people go to bed to sleep, and they're doing it with the sun. When the sun is going down, no, you're going down. When the sun is arising, you start to arise with the sun. And so when it comes to master and slave, here is your head as the master. Just as the body is the slave, mental and physical. So once they keep you on the physical realm and they keep you in the realm of survival, in survival mode, and you attach yourself to all of the religious programs, the political programs, all the agenda of the programs that was given through the archons to many world leaders and the people who are running this planet, using dark energy and the masses to keep them in ignorance. Okay, they're keeping them in one extreme. And then the so-called churches and secret societies, they are keeping them to another extreme. But when you learn to think for yourself and you become eliminated without any influence from these bodies, you join nothing, but you come to everything. And you realize that you're connected to everything. And you realize that you're both omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. As long as you discover the intelligence or information pathway that is in you, which they refer to as God, and they make you think is a being, an entity outside of yourself. When you realize it's an intelligence that will take your IQ to another level, then you would realize that they use the Bible and they use religion to measure your IQ level. So Trump putting up Obama and his wife and all these people as monkey and ape and gorillas or whatever, okay, because of the IQ level. So black people may be dominant in sport, entertainment, all of these things, but come on, man. I have to be real with you guys. Your IQ level is very, 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 very low when you believe in Jesus and you talk about you want a God, especially black women who talk about they want a God-fearing man. They want a little boy. They want they want an effeminate, weak individual they want to continue the archanic program. These are women who are controlled by archons. When you see these dating shows and you hear a woman saying they want a God-fearing man or they want a man of God, you understand? And they want a man, and when you ask for the definition, it's always someone who goes to church and so on. Okay, it's spiritual homosexuality, man over man, a man dominating another man. It's spiritual homosexuality. Okay, so my brother and my sisters, it is time for you to wake up and understand that the sun is in you, the S-U-N. But you have to ignore the S-O-N that they give you. And you have to curse that idol. Most people be made to worship an idol, but if you look at the very idol that they give you and the history behind the idol, and you was to look at it as literal and secular history as they give it to you, would realize that such a man was never Christian. Such a man was never religious. Such a man was never part of any political and religious organization. Such a man was never loved and embraced by any religious system or by any political system. Such a man was a dangerous man, was a hated man, was a man that had basically no friends when it comes to people in high places. Okay, this was a man who was exposing the system. This was a man who was self-realized and self-actualized, enlightened, illuminated, and it can't happen without the sun. That's why true awakening and enlightenment is the rising of the S-U-N in a S-O-N. So what they do, they put the S-O-N before the S-U-N and trick you. So what happened? They make you put the cat before the horse instead of the horse before the cat. That's why you have no power. The reason why melanated people are so poor, broke, miserable, so easily controlled, so easily manipulated. They've been using movies to laugh at, to make game at. They used to put on jest, wages, they emasculate them, all these things. Okay, because they're blind. They're like Samson. The story of Samson is the story of them. Okay, not connected to the 7 chakras. Lose their connectivity with nature. They lose all of these things. And they tie themselves to a whorish system. A system that embraces church and state. A Delilah system. And the divine feminine that is within themselves, they ignore blindly. While the children of the archons, they live lavishly. Not by force, but by choice. Because one thing they cannot take from you is the power of choice. You can choose death. I can choose to be a slave. You can choose to speak the truth on the internet and suffer certain consequences. Your video is not gonna go viral. Okay, they could demonetize you, they could do all of these things. You have to make up your mind to suffer these things. Or you can sell yourself to them. You can give yourself to the Archon's program. These fallen ones, these ones who do not have the soul from which I am speaking about, that spark that is within. They don't have it. It would never ignite in them. Okay. You see, you have to understand the polarity. If you're going to have light, you're going to have darkness. It have to be. That's why I'm not here trying to change anyone's nature. The nature of a pig will always be the nature of a pig. You take the pig out of the mud, you can't take the mud out of the pig. So I'm just here to speak to those who are like mine. I'm here speaking to those who have in themselves a deep that is calling to the deep, and they're going to respond. Okay. That is why where the light is, there are very few who are going to find that light. Because it takes a narrow path to find that light. And it takes darkness to find that light. That is why many of us, we have to suffer through the dark night of the soul before we could see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so, my brother, my sisters, I represent a weakness. I represent a true mystic. I represent those who were brutally killed by the church for the things that they would experience and the stories they would have shared with the world. And here we are. We could never die. No atomic bomb could really kill us. We can't be junged. In a past life, they junged me. And I just came out the body in the Buddha style. The seated Buddha, yeah, man. The seated Buddha style. I could go through water, I could go through fire, I could go through anything. Can't be stopped. This what we call death can't stop those of us who would have awakened from the dream of life. It's not real as they want you to believe. Okay? And that is why the fear of death, hell, grief, devil, all of this archonic program is what is keeping the people manipulated and controlled by those who have their dark agenda, giving you Jesus as the light of the world. And they could never make sense of it. The sun is the light of the world, will always be the light of the world. That is why they're so dumb, okay? And the children of the archons, they're so dumb that they would use the word AD and the word BC. There's no such a thing as BC. The Christ consciousness is your eternal self. The Christ consciousness have no beginning and it have no end. No mother, no father. No beginning of days, no ending of days. When you speak about the Melchizedek order, this is what I'm speaking about. So don't make they brainwash you and deceive you. Having you look on the outside to a SON and thinking someone is going to save you. The sun is who's saving everyone on this planet. And then they'll tell you, oh, who created the sun? The sun is in you. It's a projection, okay, of that which is within you. So all wealth, all abundance, everything comes from the light, okay? And that's why the illuminated ones would know the truth. And that's why when you become illuminated, they wanted to join the Illuminati. Yeah, but they would never get a man like me. I'd rather die a free man than to die a slave. Okay? I know there are many opportunities that are available to anyone who wants to be a part of the archonic programs and what they have going on in the world. Okay? Well, driving a Lamborghini doesn't mean that much to me. Driving a Rolls Royce doesn't mean that much to me. What means more to me is me being of service to all of humanity, pointing each and everyone to look inwardly instead of outwardly, letting them know that it is their own thoughts that creates their reality and creates their personality, and that the sun, as in the SUN, it parallels the human imagination, and the human imagination parallels the sun. Okay, that is why I would encourage you to listen to the many videos that I would have made concerning the inner sun science and technology to create your reality consciously. And you can find that on my Patreon. And it is just for a little bit of $20 a month. So if you're donating $20 a month, you have access to all of those videos concerning what I'm teaching you about the inner sun science and technology to create your reality consciously. You could create your reality consciously. You could change your bank account consciously. You could drive whatever vehicle you want to drive in this world consciously. You could do it. You are conscious and a deliberate creator, but you have to align yourself to the intelligence of the sun that is within you, the intelligence of the light that is within you. And you don't have to kiss no one's ass. You can start from zero. Ideas is what runs this world. That is why I am not dependent on how much views I get and how much subscribers I get and so on. No, they can't control me in that area. They could delete your channel, they could do all of that. Okay, but that is if you are controlled materialistically and you do not understand the power of your mind and you do not have any real experience. Because once you get real experience, I'm telling you, you become an information highway. Okay, so you always have ideas of how to live on this earth. You always have ideas of how to get others connected to you, and you will always give of your service, and it will always come back to you. When it says that you must give and it's gonna come back to you in good measure, pressed and shaken together and running over a man giving you bosom, it's like it is talking about its energy, its vibration, its frequency. When you listen to a man like me, you know there's hope for humanity. Even those who are against what I'm saying, they know there's hope for humanity. When you have people like me, you hear me quoting any book, you hear me talk about I'm trying to remember the name of the library, Macadamia or something like that. That certain people just quote and what they found and this and that is the experience. Is the experience. When people talk about the pharaohs and they talk about Egypt and Mesopotamia and Nile Valley and all of these things are experiences. I'm telling you, there is an experience on this planet that when you experience it, you experience the all. And when you experience the all, whatever knowledge that comes forth would just bring confirmation to that one experience. Because it is what? Your Christ consciousness, your Christ awareness. It is the burial and resurrection, just like you plant a seed in the earth and it's going to bring forth after what? Death, burial, and resurrection. And it says in the book of Mind Science that unless a corn of wheat falls in the ground and dies, I experienced death already. That's why I can tell you a birth is a death and a death is a birth. And that is why I'm telling you, whether I die now, I die tomorrow, it's the same death. Okay, death is inevitable, but death is not what you think it is. It is this physical body that you will put away. But the real you cannot die. Well, at least for me, I know that for sure. I could tie my life back to all of the pharaohs, all of these things they talk about. By one experience. In other religions, they say they go from samsara to nirvana. And they have different terminology. But it's the experience that would make you whether a master, a true master teacher. This is not I mean, something have to be real. For years, about people talk about, Louis Farrakhan. And before Louis Farrakhan, you had Malcolm X, all these people, they're great speakers. They're orators. I see these men as orators. What is their experience? No disrespect, but it's truth. What is the experience? When I speak totally from experience. As a man, grew up in what I would say like the back part of the world. Let me put it that way. Because if you look on the world map for the country where I'm living, if you might not even see my country on the world map. If you see it as a dot, just a little dot on the world map, if you actually even see it on the world map. That's why when people looking for certain people to arise out of America, instead they are rising in what they call the Antilles. Yeah. In these parts they say greater Antilles and lesser Antilles because they're afraid to talk about the real Atlantis. If you study people like Marcus Garvey and so on, and you check that same gene, You see what I'm speaking about. And so when I speak about the whole Jesus agenda and the SON versus the SUN and how it doesn't make any sense, okay, people having such a foolish belief. When you look at how the prime ministers in these islands in the Caribbean swearing under the crown, you know who running the crown? The crown is worn by the head archon, by the demiurge, a fake God. I know what I'm talking about. But the real God is within, and the real God, the reflection of the real God, of that real God, is the one that I see in the mirror. He looks just like me, man. So don't tell me about no white God. Don't tell me about no Jewish God. Don't tell me about no Jewish people or no chosen people. That's a damn lie. I know who I am. Okay? That's why I don't support confusion. That is why when I come on this kind of platform, I mash a lot of con. Yeah. I damage a lot of people's ego. Okay? Because they realize, hey, this man don't kiss ass. So, my brother and my sisters, I really want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. I'm definitely going to look at the comments and interact a little bit with you. Okay? So, don't get tricked. Because you see, let me say this. Naturally speaking, from a humanistic standpoint, if you're scrolling through social media and you see a channel that doesn't have much views, most likely you might not want to click on it to listen to that person. But if you see someone get millions and so on, it spikes something inside of you. That dopamine inside of you going to react. It do something to your curiosity. You're curious. What this person's talking about, why they have millions of views and so on. That's how they run the Arcanic program. I dare you. Those of you at YouTube, I dare you to put this work out to millions of people. I dare you. I challenge you. Because you're afraid. You see, the difference is that I am not afraid, but you're afraid. When I speak, I'm not speaking against flesh and blood. Nah, my war is not against flesh and blood. My war is against these non-physical entities that the world cannot see. And as I said, I have a video with one of those non-physical entities. They move at the speed of light. It is because of the person who gave the video to me. Okay. It is because their son is there because they was playing with their son. And they were taping themselves playing with the son. They were shocked because it's somebody who know me very well. Okay. They share it. Okay, but they don't want it to be seen, you know. This is what they normally call paranormal phenomena, something like that. They normally call these things and so on. You can see this being, this and it can shift. And when I try to slow it down as much as I can slow it down, all you can see is light because it's moving at the speed of light. Where you get the light from? From your energy. From your energy. When you think about like for example the different denominational organizations that you have in the Caribbean, like you have the Jehovah's Witness who say awake, they call themselves, and they have these Magani Mark awake. You have the Seventh-day Adventists, Ellen G. White, and all of these people. These people had occult knowledge, and these people are feeding melanated black people to these archons through their energy. They're feeding black people energy to these archons. Because why? Because we're so close to the light and so close to the sun, and we have that spark inside of us. That's where they're feeding from. And when you understand the love opposite, you would say if you were them, you would do the same thing too. And they keep doing the same thing over and over and over. That's why they still keep the old school program in the Caribbean. What your great-great-great-great-grandfather and great-great-grandmother was taught in school, the same shit they're teaching these children, the same songs they're singing, everything. And there's no prime minister who have backbone or balls enough to say, I'm going to change the whole school program. But in the Caribbean, they have some CXC, Caribbean Examination Council. We think that come from? That comes straight from the Archons. These Archons who if you chase them, the people who they're behind off, they go all the way back to Israel. These people who call themselves Jews. I'm telling the honest truth, you know. We used to run all of these slave plantation. You understand? They put these things there and they can't change them. And anyone who tries to stand up to change them, what they do? They scare the masses by what? Death. Tell a man in Grenada the name of Maris Bishop. They take him out. America invaded in 1984, I think. They invaded Grenada and all of that. So when Trump said, oh, we're going to make America great again, it's Israel they're talking about, you know. Trump is just a little puppet boy. You see me look healthy? That's an unhealthy man. That's an unhealthy man. And just like all of they speak about Alexander the Great, he fell. They speak about Rome fell. You name it. And this modern time, this is Rome in a different way. You're gonna fall. If you know of all the rule, those who ruled before, okay, let me put it that way. Whether is it Greece or whatever, I can't remember all of the name. Okay, they all fell. Anything that goes up must come down. Anything. Okay, so with Trump and Obama being basically on the same side, all of them are run by the Archonic program, and he turning around and saying ape and monkey and describing them, and people looking at skin color and so on, and melanin, which the sun, the SUN, is connected to melanin, and melanin is connected to the SUN, and so on. They're using even all of these things to distract you because they're against each other in a way to get their agenda accomplished. And so when it comes to politics and religion, there's no opposition. And when it comes to politics itself, there's no opposition. There's no such a thing as Democrat and Republican and so on. They're all one. Okay? They all have one agenda. So my brother and my sisters, stick to the sun, the SUN. Okay? Big Pharma don't want you to know the truth about the sun. The preachers don't want you to know the truth about the sun. The politicians don't want you to know the truth about the sun. Everything is connected to the sun, man. Everything we get here come from the sun. All intelligence come from the sun. My IQ going to another level, me going closer to the sun. Me activating the sun within. Okay, it's dawning up a new day. Someone says, yeah, let me read the comments because I definitely want to close and then do my another live on my other channel, okay? The Black Maguru channel. I'll still be speaking about the sun there too, okay? It's a joy and a pleasure. Thank you very much. It's always a joy and a pleasure to serve, okay? And here I'm saying greetings to everyone, and I'm also inviting you to check out the Inner Sun Science and Technology course, okay, on my Patreon. It's just for people donating $20 or more. Okay, go there, there's so much video, there's so much food for your soul, feeding them, okay? There are two different Jesuses in the Bible, okay? Yes, there's Jesus in you, and there's Jesus, the idol that they give outside of you. And when I say Jesus, I'm talking about the Christ consciousness that is in you. They call him, whether you call the power Yahshua, you call the power, and any name you give to the power, it doesn't matter. There's an intelligence that is in you. And they are using the idol doesn't look like you as a symbol to say that you have self-doubt and self-hate and that you do not believe in yourself, and you're doing it by choice. It is you making the decision not to believe in yourself. There's nothing that they're doing to you directly. It is you doing it to yourself. It is you choosing to believe that Jesus is the light of the world because you rather be dumb and you rather live in this world with guilt and shame and judgment and condemnation towards yourself, and you do not want to think for yourself to know that really and truly the light of the world is the sun, the sun, and that the sun definitely parallels the human imagination, and the human imagination definitely parallels the sun. Without the sun, there's no life and there's no light. Without the human imagination, there's anything made that was made. You find that right in the same Bible. And you know that the Bible is a book of mind science, and you have to use your mind to disagree with me. That to tell you that the world is run by idiots, and most of the people in the world are idiots. So when you tie yourself to an idiot and you bring a child in this world, you bring forth another idiot. So when you see all of these black women coming and dating shows saying they're looking for a God-fearing man, they're looking for an idiot to bring forth. That's an idiot looking for another idiot to bring forth another idiot. And then you have to have people like me who have to expose such a thing. There's a man named Kevin Samuel. He was basically doing the same thing to take him out. And so all the people who like to talk about, oh, protect this man at all, because I don't want protection from the outside. There's no man could protect you. There's no one could protect the American president that got shot, Kennedy. They have Air Force One, they have this, that could protect you. Nothing could protect you, bro. More than the unseen. My protection come from the unseen. So I ain't looking to the scene. That's why you have all of these celebrities with all kind of bodyguard and this and that. Just a charade. Just a display. To feed your ego and the ignorance. Who want to live a life like that? This is real life. You being out in nature. You understand? You worry about death. Yes, everybody have a certain level of fear. But when you understand that death is inevitable, and you're thinking about your mortality every day with an understanding and knowing and an experience that you are immortal, that kind of consciousness defeat them. You realize all the people going to freaking church and all of these things, they fear death, you know. A friend of mine was sharing an experience with me whereby they were traveling on a plane, a jet, okay, coming to the Caribbean, and it was very turbulent. It was a very turbulent flight. And people was on the flight crying and screaming and praying to Jesus like some freaking man gonna come from the sky and save their ass. If you believe so much in this entity that they give you called Jesus, and you believe in the light of the world, and you don't believe in the light that is within you, why you want to live? Why you still want to be on this planet? Why you don't want to go meet Jesus? Why you don't want to go meet this God? Why you don't want to go to heaven? If heaven is a better place than here, why don't you want to go? Why you on a plane experiencing turbulence and praying? If I'm on a plane and they're experiencing turbulence, and anyone on that plane talking about Jesus, I'm going to open up my mouth real big and say, shut the fuck up, all of you. I'm going to say that. And that flight. So whether it crash or whatever, you understand? I will die being myself. I will never die being a slave. They enslave you to an idol called Jesus. So you wouldn't know your true self. So you won't wake up to know your true self, the light that is in you. You wouldn't know your oneness with the sun. The S-U-N. Give you a S-O-N. So if you're interested and you want like to support my work, you can check out the Inner Sun Science and Technology course on Patreon. A bunch of videos, man. Listen to them. They will definitely help you. They wake you up. Okay? So when the person asks, are there two different Jesuses in the Bible? Yes. You see, if you interpret the Bible as literal and secular history, you end up with an idol. But if you understand it metaphysically and esoterically, if you understand it psychologically, okay, you use reverse psychology, and then you would get the Christ energy and operate under the Christ energy. Especially when you listen and believe a man like me, who is an actual witness and a Christ walking this earth. I'm not going to wait for no one to say that, you know. I'm not going to wait until I die and someone say, oh, you were a great almighty man. That's what they do with all these fake mystics and fake philosophers, and all of them happen. Hey, wait. You know, all of them happen to be Caucasian. Yo, every time I think about that, I always laugh. Everything that is great in this world was a Caucasian. These motherfuckers are so lie. They're so dumb. They're the dumbest people on this planet, you know. They're real dumb. I have to speak the truth, whether you like it or not. And I have no prejudice against no one. I stand for the truth. They're dumb. They're real dumb. They're real dumb. That's why when you follow them and you believe them, you real fucking dumb, you know. You know how much of a monkey you have to be to believe that Jesus is the light of the world? Chum putting up a ape or a gorilla or whatever wasn't even enough. When the woman talk about Obama's son and all of that, not too long after she passed, most of the time you see a man lapping his foot, so you know, most of the time you know, yeah, check out if you gay, okay. So, but I'm not here to try to, you know, bring down the one and this and that. No. Okay, it's just to get you to think. Because when Obama become president, you see, it's Jesse Jackson, however, see all his ass up to the crying. Oh, a black man, you're the fuck we great from ever since. You telling me, yo, nobody in this world could deceive me from my greatness of me being a melanated man, you know. Nobody, absolutely nobody. Nobody could come and talk about no science of melanin. Melanin is a fucking, I call it the invisible fluid. You could appear, you could disappear, you could do anything with it with the real melanin. I am grateful for all the teachers who come out and teach about melanin. There used to be a man named Leila Africa, something like that, and talk about melanin and so on. I applaud them for the whatever knowledge they get about melanin. But when you have the experience, and these children of the Arkans know, yo, this fucking man, where this man come from? A man from these little Caribbean little islands, these colonized islands where we have a bunch of monkeys down there. Oh, is it? Come on, which book he read? Didn't read no book. The fuck you talking about? He be taking a lot of sunlight. He walk bare feet for a long time. He drink water from the earth. He eat close to nature and so on. And that's why I don't go to the extreme diet, you know. Oh, some people, oh, you eat meat, you eat it. I eat every fucking thing. I don't eat pork. Okay? But stay balanced. Balance. I follow. One time I went and I was just eating fruits alone. I was eating banana. I was eating mangoes. I was drinking coconut water every day along with the jelly. Okay, and the coconut and so on. And taking a bunch of fucking sunlight. I lose so much weight I had to stop. I was so healthy. I was getting all kind of dreams. I was going to fucking other dimension, all kind of things, seeing planets, all these different things. You better go. You know, people. Let me say this. Okay, and no disrespect to the people who live in these big metropolitan countries and so on. But I'm telling you, if you've been living in America and these are the big metropolitan countries and you've been stuck and you never really travel the Caribbean, you need to take a flight to Caribbean and ask, you need to ask these people in the Caribbean, what the fuck been going on in your head when you leave these kind of countries to come up here, to live in a concrete jungle like this? If you be honest and real. Down here, you don't have the parties and the nightclubs and all of these kind of things, but people think it's excitement and all of that. You don't have all of those things. But if you're a person who want to be connected closer to nature, you want to get good sunlight, you want to breathe in nice fresh air. Yo, from the moment I land in this place, you know, with nice fresh air, no pollution from all of the vehicles and so on and all of that. You know how good I feel? Yo, you know how good I feel? Why you think all these multi-millionaire billionaires that they build some sort of resorts in some place that people could come and get this kind of lifestyle? I remember I wrote a book called Bukomembe Resort and the Messenger. I remember I was working in the gym at Bukomembe Resort where they turn now and call sandals and they keep running the same slave program. Had the people, the poor ass people singing songs to the fucking tourists. If you see that slave thing, but oh God, it hurt my heart. There the people line up singing song. When the people leave in, they singing song. When they come, they singing song to the bunch of monkey. Oh God, it hurt my heart. But when I used to walk there, before I walk off from the resort, I tell you, I'm no indentured servant, and I don't have no slave mind. And I didn't even this week. Woke as yet, I should say. Okay. When I leave the gym and I travel like down to where they have the swimming pool and all that, I see all of these people lie down, getting the skin sun. So and these people serving them, bartenders, waiters and waitresses, and they all melanated people serving all of these fucking Caucasian people and these so called it move my heart. It move my heart, boy. I couldn't continue working. No money. No money can't heal that. It's not supposed to be like that. Something fucking wrong. I knew something was wrong. It touched my heart. I remember I also traveled to Barbados. when I was involved in natural bodybuilding, I always been natural, okay? Been my body natural and everything. And went to the hotel and so on. Man, I was moved by the hotel, beautiful and everything. I love it. Okay. And some of the white guys and things, they were staying at the hotel. But when I went to the hotel, I ended up and go to the wrong area. Okay, looking to find the place where I was gonna have a meeting. And I find the wrong area. And I meet some black people who was like washing the things and so on for the hotel, like the sheet and all of these things and so on. And I see these people, boy, and I felt the energy. It was a bunch of depressed people. You could imagine you going to a hotel, a lovely hotel, beautiful old man at the front desk that are greeting you and so on, and they send you to an area and you end up and you go wrong area and you see these people, boy, they look so depressed. I could feel the energy, the burden, like they're carrying a burden with all of these things they have to go and wash and so on and all of that for mega wages. Man, look, even in 2020 to 2022, when they was running the big scam, they make the big pandemic, I was seeing they open up resort here, there. That's when Sanders moving in my country, you know. No Sanders taking over the country, you know. The blind assholes in church today talking about, oh, Jesus save, Jesus light to the world. Blind monkeys. I have to speak the truth. Black people love to be entertained. They love you. Come and tell them nice things. They don't like you, correct them, you know. Tell them nice things. Oh, we are the chosen. We are the this, we are the that. Why did these Hebrew Israelites set up all of these things and raking money from the people out of their ignorance? And trying to wake up the people without no experience at all. Someone say, are you Muslim? Anything anybody asks me, I say yes. Muslim, Christian, Hindu, you name it. You name any fucking one of them. I could unfold every one of them. Every one of them have hidden teaching when you understand how the mind works and when you understand the sun. So all of them. And for the melanated people who call themselves Muslim, you make me laugh. Talking about Allah. Make me laugh. You have to know who enslaved you and who keeping you still a slave. You understand? These are things you have to do. And you have to realize all of these different so-called religion, when you really become enlightened and awakened and illuminated, okay, and when I say become, it's already in you now. It's just they keep it dormant, okay? When it's been ignited in you, you understand every one of them. So just use different names, different terminology. Oh, from Samsara to Nirvana, da da da. When you see um the boy from India who called himself a guru, who used to knock head with the man Shrub and Economic Forum. The boy who showed in the great scamdemic. He talking about inner engineering. Inner engineering is where me talk about when we talk about the inner sun science and technology. Get the fuck out of here. Try to be diplomatic and play, oh, most holy and most spiritual and this and that. And oh, these people come from India. You get the fuck out of here. Who you a fool? They, for years, they had Krishnamurti, they have all of these people, the Paramahansa, Yogananda, they try to feed we with these kind of people like these like India does produce a bunch of God men and holy men, but when it comes to Africa and the Caribbean, when it comes to melanated people, some of the melanated people, come to them. The inferior or the superior, which one? What the hell am I talking? What the hell is happening? Eh? What do you think I could unfold everything we never gotta talk about plus more and show you, yo, this boy scripted, a scripted boy. This shit. Are you Muslim? Therefore, my identity is God. And what do I always be? A Muslim. When I come into this world, I never ask myself, am I a Muslim? Am I a Christian? No, I ask myself, who am I? When the answer come as what I am. I am that. Anything you could name about, I am that. I am. I could transmute into anything I want to be. This is power. This power. Trump, Beijing, Xing, Putin, do you think that is real power? You have to give an X represent your Christ self. You have to give your Christ energy for put them in the place that they are. But when you being who you are as a mystic, that's why they never teach you. There's no school they go to and tell you, oh, the highest level on this planet that you go to is that of a mistake or whatever, Christ consciousness. No. And then they set up some fellas who get some books. You understand? Read these books, be part of their brotherhood, and then they declare them to the world and say, these men were mystics, they were great men. Yeah. The Emmett Fox, the Carl Jung, the this, the that. What a joke. Well, I guess if these men were the kind of men that they tell you, we should be able to go in Egypt, Nile Valley, everything, Mesopotamia. Anyway, you're supposed to be able to find their pictures in Africa, man. You're supposed to find images that look like them too. Why they break off the noses? The all Mexican and all of these people there. Why in my country and stone, you have certain things they call them petroglyph and so on. And then they mash up the place. We used to have all of the petroglyph out there, and the church, they control the Yoruba church. And the police could have locked you up if you go by that area, and they put a sign with Mary and all that. And people in the country say, oh, they go wash up and bow down. No, they didn't want But I used to always go down by a place named Leyu, in my country, down by the stones in them, with the writings. Why is it that all over the world? Oh, Caucasian people been all around the world. Remember the discovery, Remember them is Columbus and all of that. And Marco Polo, they travel the world before everybody else. Why these people is hilarious. I have to talk about them, man. Okay? So, my brother and my sisters, the light of the world is the sun, man. Don't make them fool you. Okay? This whole thing about Jesus as the light of the world and the blonde hair, blue eye, fake pale skin is an archon. Is the image of an archon. They feeding you, man. They feeding the world to these archons, these non-physical entities. Okay? And when you experience, for 3.5 years, I fought against archons in the night when I go to bed. 3.5 years. I didn't know what training I was getting. I was getting training. And then it was caught on film. Oh my, what a happy man. They try to hinder views and all this kind of got shadow banner. What a happy man. Hey, thank you. On YouTube. The one who reached out to me after I start to expose Neville and all of that, that's everything. Thank you very much. I love you so much, man. Hey, you making me more happy than anything else. You making me know everything that I talk about experience. You solidifying it even more for me. You confirm it even more for me. Hey, I didn't ask you to be my slave, Yeah, man. The one who pressed the button or whatever, they put shadow by me and all of that. And we can reach out to me and tell me, oh, I'm not a troll. Or you could say this or you could say that. Hey, I got the laugh. I got the last laugh. When you experience energy, vibration, and frequency, and you experience earth, wind, water, fire, and experience yourself as spirit, and you realize the emanation is a melanated man walking out from a fire that will catch you. You understand? And speak to you, and you experience that. You laugh. Last laugh, I get the last laugh. When you put it up on my blonde hair and my grandmother used to have a picture in the house, I used to have them watch a picture, boy. And I gave to figure it out. And just recently when I started to ask myself certain things about certain things, and then I was showing the whole thing about the archons and these non-physical entities, and then that which is with him, he said, go back to the video that the person sent to you with the entity that they couldn't really unfold. When he was flaming the sun, just playing around. That the entity is taking the energy, man. Stealing black people. That's why black people so much at the bottom of the barrel. They give away their own energy. Church. Man, I say, fuck church. My body is where it all is. There's no other temple. You could out and say you're a Christian, you love all people. I'm a Christian too. I'm a Christian mystic. A Christian is not a follower. You see, they change. And you see, anybody who have come and said, you know what I just be teaching? It's Christ I am it. I just be teaching, you know. I'm the founder of Christ I am it. Christian, what they call Christian, is supposed to be Christ I am. I dare you to say that. Christine, what the fuck? Christine, I dare you to say Christ I am. You're a Christ I am, not a Christian. Your father, your mother, whoever you're raised with, they were raising you to be an idiot. Don't be an idiot. You understand? And if no man never tell you this, let me just get out this a little bit here. If no man never tell you that, well, you don't meet a real man, because when I look at men in America who looking for a spouse and allowing a woman to dictate who is really a man, dictate the spiritual direction in which they would go in a relationship, when they state into like, I'm looking for a God-fearing man, and I'm looking for a man of God. And they're looking for some religious, they're looking for idiot. You understand? So Christine, welcome to a real man. Yeah, a real man. Okay. And then women in America like to say, oh, this man is giving little dick vibes. You understand? Most of the time, all these religious men, them is who really get the real little dick vibes. You understand what I'm saying? Because they have no balls. They're spiritual steroids. It just shink the balls. The white man make a thing named steroids. It just shink the man in balls. Make them, so give them some little testicles. That is like the men who just go to church. Most men who go to church is sissify. And most men go to church because of women. They following the idiotic woman. There's a lot, I have to say this as I come to a close, because they to close. There's a lot of idiotic black women out there that need to be put in their place. I would love to put them in their place. I would love to put them in their place. Like I see a woman on a date, she'll come out and talk about Jesus, and talk about if you don't write it down and make it plain. And then she make her ask what she said, she already 60 and getting on like a real monkey. Dotish like bat. I need to see some real men in America stand up toward these women. That's why the women could put on fake ass. And you're falling for that. A fake stinking ass. Because when they put on these fake ass, they can't have cleaned their ass good enough. They stink. You call it BBL and all these kind of fucking shit. There's no real man start attack against these things. They're afraid. Like the women and thing in these dating shows would tell the men, oh, you're too short. Like if you could do something about your motherfucking height. Yes, and they fake as fuck. A fake wig, fake, everything fake. And they talk and they telling you, but I want a God-fearing man. You want a little pussy boy. You understand? Who you could sit on his face and make him a fool, an idiot. You understand? But when you meet real men, you understand? Real men speak the truth. That's why I don't come across like no holy man and play no Indian go shit, you know. Me don't do them shit. I be real. You understand what I'm saying? So my brother, my sister, the sun, man. Embrace the sun. Not just talk about sun gazing alone. No. More than that. Most people in my country, as I come to a close here, because I really want to close, most people in my country don't get enough sun, you know, and they think there's getting enough sun. Oh, we live in the tropics, this get sun. No, you don't get enough sun. Everybody want to buy this kind of car and this kind of vehicle and have a fucking acre, and they don't find time. That's why every time I try to get a walk all in the morning and get some sun, and then come back in the evening again and get some sun. I always want to get sun. I always say, boy, I remember the days when I wasn't driving, how much I used to take so much of the sun and enjoy the sun, enjoy the walk, the exercise and everything. I said, look, I've seen people when they get vehicle, they get fat. Why do you think there are so much obese people in America and those kind of places? The Arkans want to keep you fat and miserable. That's why do you think there's drop all these fast food places in certain areas to certain people? You know what I mean? And people leaving down here is paradise, you know. Down here is like paradise. You eat a bunch of fucking junk food and get fat and obese. You understand? It's a program. You break it. Okay? And this is because people still have this whole concept that, oh, Jesus is the light of the world. No, don't be that stupid. The sun is the light of the world. Get more in touch with the sun. Get more in alignment with the sun. What am I really saying? Get more in touch with yourself, your true self, your true essence, the light. You are light. You are divine. That's what I'm basically saying. So, my brother, my sister, I really want to thank everyone, okay, for tuning in. Love you, Christine Shawman. Okay, stop saying you're a Christian. You didn't born in this world. You understand? As a follower. Okay, if when you say you're a Christian, if the concept is you being a follower, okay, and you want to be like Christ Jesus, you're being an idiot. Okay, you will never turn the water into wine literally. You never walk on water. And you can't tell me, well, oh, that is not literal in the Bible. You understand? Because if you believe it's literal and secular history, you have to believe it one way. I believe it one way. That is all mind science. And I could explain it and break it down from every verse and every scripture and show you what I am talking about. Okay? But you want to say, oh, one part is literal, another part is symbolic. No. The entire fucking book is symbolic. Grab a hold of your mind, Christine. Okay? I'm telling you this because I love you, Christine. Okay? I love you, Christine. And stop holding too fast identity. I hope you're still on. Okay? I hope you ain't on gone. But I'm saying to you, don't label yourself as no Christian, no this, no that, no that, no that. If you label yourself as a Christian, label yourself as a Muslim too, and as a Hindu too, as a Taoist or whatever, anything they say, everything goes back to the light once you awaken. Okay? Yeah. So, my brother, my sister, I want to thank you very much. I want to say, if you want to join me on my next live, I still going to be talking about the sun over there on my next live. I'm a Black Mad Guru. Okay? So, I want to thank you very much. Love you all. Keep tuning in. Support my work. Okay? Get my books. Okay? When you bring my books in your house, you bring a blessing in your house. Chase out the archons, man. Chase them out. Break the generational curse. Break all of these things. Okay? I know exactly what I'm saying to you. Because I know what forces that is behind me. That's why I'm so truthful. That's why they couldn't buy me out. They can't give me no fucking views and all of these and subscribers and all of these things sell myself short. They have the fellas, because they don't tell me what one nigga not gonna do, another nigga gonna do. Yeah, there are a lot of niggas who already do exactly what they say. Okay? But not this one. Okay? So, my brother, my sister, I really want to thank you very much. Okay? I want to just say to you, peace. Love you all. Out.